Let's see if we can understand indeterminate form a little better. The way I see it, indeterminate form means we have some infinite item that disagrees with itself. So for example, one form of an indeterminate is infinity divided by infinity. You might look at this and say, oh, infinity in the numerator, that means we have an infinite number. But when we divide by infinity, well, that actually means we have zero. And zero and infinity are disagreeing. It's a disagreement. That's what makes this an indeterminate form. Another example of this would be, say, 0 divided by 0. The 0 on top suggests this whole thing is 0. But when I divide something by 0, that makes an infinite number of things, right? If I take one object and I divide it into 0 parts, well, I need each part to have an infinite number, an infinite size. So this implies it's going to infinity. Since these disagree, this is indeterminate. Now let's take a look at another example. How about I looked at infinity divided by 0? Is that indeterminate? Well, infinity on top suggests this goes to infinity. But in the 0 at the bottom, that also suggests it goes to infinity. So these two agree. That means it's not indeterminate. It's just infinity or negative infinity, right? There's a few differences there. We won't discuss that in this video. So let's take a look at another one. How about infinity minus infinity? Is that indeterminate? Well, on the one hand, we think it's going to be infinity because of this guy. But this one recommends that, hey, we're looking at negative infinity. These two disagree. Which one wins? I don't know. So that's what makes this indeterminate. So let's box all the indeterminates. It's a disagreement. That's what makes it indeterminate. Whereas like if I had infinity plus infinity, well, both of these imply it's infinity. So it's not indeterminate. Let's take a look at one more. How about I have 1 to the infinity? Is that indeterminate? Well, if I have any number to the infinity, that's essentially going to be, if x is bigger than 1, it's going to be infinity. Whereas if I have 1 to any number, well, that's just 1. These two disagree. So the infinity implies it's infinity, but the 1 implies that it's a 1. Since they disagree, this is indeterminate form. So hopefully now you have a better grasp of how to know if something is indeterminate. Look for that disagreement to understand.